to the Holy Rollers, episode 36. If you're joining us, you will see that kind of got a new little background going. We like it, it's pretty, so we're going to use it. No, in all honesty, the folks at Streamlabs, I think, knocked this one out of the park. This one looks fantastic.
Looks good.
Yeah,
Looks functional.
Didn't take forever to get it set up, which was nice. So yeah, it's definitely got thumbs up for me on it. Yeah, so we're gonna start like we do every week with Roll for Prayer. It was pretty pitiful this week. I don't even think we hit above a 15, which does not bode well for the group tonight. So I think 13 got it. So whoever that was, have at it.
We got
All right.
our little prayers out, our little rolls out.
Yes. So let's approach the throne with confidence. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for bringing us together, four of us under one roof, Lord. Thank you so much for the camaraderie that this gift of a group has blessed us with. Thank you so much for the creativity of our DM, Brandon, and for the world that you have inspired him to build. Please help us to be salt and light for you in the way we play this game. Please help us to be winsome and to show people what you look like through us, because the scripture promises that they will know what you look like by how we love each other. Please give us good rolls and continue to give the DM bad rolls. And in Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Except for that last one.
Amen.
I don't mean to pray against you
Especially
like
the
that,
last
Brandon, but I mean it.
Right? Yeah, exactly. No worries. Yeah, so just a small recap. So the group has made it to the outskirts of Dragonstar. I think where we left off last was, I believe Devlin was doing just a little bit of scouting, just to kind of see, what the area looked like, leading into everything. That's kind of just where we're gonna pick it up from tonight. So the group has made it, and it actually would help if I moved you guys to the new map.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
It's a nice map.
It is a pretty map. I completely stole that map, so I did not make
That's
this
good.
one. I added a couple of temples into the middle of the city, just to, just as kind of a focal point. But yeah, so I guess let me kind of set the picture of what you're seeing. So Dragonstar is a very vibrant city. As you approach it, regardless of the direction that you approach it from, you are surrounded by farmland to the north, south, east, and west. There is a gorgeous, pristine river that runs straight through the city, kind of splitting it into two. Kind of on the outskirts of the city sit very large estates, some of them in great shape. Some of them have fallen into disrepair. At one point, Dragonstar was actually set to be the capital of a small country that was going to be formed in the southern portion of the country. Land was cleared for a castle. Some different things happened, and that actually fell through. As you approach into the city, it's pretty easy to figure out where the richer side of the city and the impoverished side of the city are. The wealthy areas are, they're done up with the mansions, very lavish estates, very easy to show off their wealth. Where the poor neighborhoods, it hums of a different energy. Narrow alleyways, modest dwellings, a lot of kind of almost bamboo-ish looking huts and houses built. The river that runs through the city, obviously takes, it definitely helped shape the city. Not only does it provide water for the city, but it also provides food and kind of a indirect point of commerce for the city. Within the center of the city, there are two temples. Actually, as you look, the temples are actually the only area within the city that the road is made of some type of stone, cobblestone. Everywhere else is very packed dirt, to the point that it's actually not even dusty. It's that dirt that's basically like concrete. The two temples that sit in the middle of the city, there is one temple to Jehovah. There also is a temple to Tyr. The temple of Tyr is the one that Mara will remember she grew up in, along with Helga. Funny enough, probably within about 300 yards is where Terrance would have began his journey as a paladin.
So close and yet so far
That's
growing
right.
up.
It had only took them like 30-something episodes to realize that they were actually related. So
It wasn't for lack of trying.
They
Right.
literally had to be fooled by some random person.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Like
Yeah.
Jordan figured it out before they did.
right, yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what we're going to pick up tonight. The group has made it to the outskirts of the city. There is probably enough daylight that you would be able to make it into town, possibly make your way to an inn.
Actually,
you guys just tell me what you want to do.
so actually, Terrance would probably want to take everybody over to his family's house, which would have so he would be, his dad was the blacksmith, is a blacksmith, and his mom is a leather worker. So I'm assuming that there would be a shop with a house in the back, and he would probably try to take them there and assume that they could just stay there rather than going to a inn
Okay.
to start.
Mara is suddenly very nervous, palms sweaty, mom spaghetti.
This question. Does, did we collect any of Helga's ashes?
I was actually going to message you about that, Brandon. Since I came up to her corpse to put the dragon's tooth on it,
Mm-hmm.
I would have collected like a sample of hair.
I don't know if I said it because I was probably very sad in real life. But I did want Mara to like have like a little something of her ashes, like a little jar or whatever we had.
As we think, we
I mean,
should
it's
probably
common
let.
practice at this point it's common for us to carry around dead, like remnants of dead people at this point. Like we've got Better Duck.
What
That
were you
was
gonna say, Joffrey?
just. We should probably let the Temple of Tyr know that they lost a paladin in the field, since we were there with them at their final moment. You would imagine there's probably some decorum to respect meant just to inform them, even if she wasn't attached to the city.
Well, and I'm sure that, well, I mean, Helga and Mara met in this city, so I think she was somewhat connected.
Mhm.
But, I mean, I think just out of respect, like, her ashes should be left with her god, kind of thing. Like, at her temple, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And Terrance would probably say, well, since it's getting dark, it would be best. I mean, I was hoping that we could go to the temples at first thing in the morning anyways, so we could do it then. And let them know. We can go to my parents' house. We can see if there's room, and if not, then there should be an inn close by. There would be an inn close by because we're on the the merchants area anyways.
Okay.
And Albus is, because he knows that Mara had a hard time growing up here, and so he's gonna have a dread helm on, It's basically gonna stare down anybody that looks at Mara weird.
That's
So-
our wildfire.
You've been
So,
chosen.
just to give you an idea of how Terrance walks in, the minute he crosses over into this area and where he really knows where he's at, of course his chest sticks up. He stands tall, probably not even thinking that that's what he's doing, but I would imagine that he's ready to go and see his parents. He's ready to meet this town that he hasn't been in for probably 10 years. And he's ready to go and see everybody, and his mood probably switches over to extremely jovial, extremely jolly, full of joy. The look on his face would probably be that of just delight, because his idea of this town has always been good. And he's not doing it on purpose. This would just be a natural. He hadn't been here for 10 years and just probably is thinking of those times.
Interesting how different upbringings can influence your perception of a place.
Yeah.
Isn't it, though?
'Cause I imagine Mara, like, probably the exact opposite, like, trying to be as small as possible, basically.
So one of the things that I want to do is if Terrance would notice that. So I'm going to do a perception check to see if Terrance would notice, because
Do I
Yes.
need to roll anything against that?
I'll just on your perception check, I'm going to have you make the perception check at disadvantage.
okay, how do I do that again?
Just roll twice, take the lower of the two.
Okay. The first one is 13, and the second one is 12.
Okay, so it's 12. There's not much has changed in your eyes, Terrance.
Okay.
Everything seems to be quite as you remember it in your in your time in Dragonstar.
Okay. So again, let's head over to my parents, and unfortunately, I'm not sure where you have placed that.
That's
Where
all
you're-
right.
Where's Albus
'Cause
during
I
this?
do.
Is he next to Mara?
That's good.
He's next to Mara.
Okay.
Being
Obviously.
intimidating as he's
Where
being.
else would he be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even I knew where Albus was.
Yeah.
And let's face it, I'm the least prepared person here.
Yeah. I was
Alright,
guess with Dublin's
so-
new passive being as high as it is, he would catch Mara being off and scared, and he would just kind of nudge Albus. You do you. Molten fire, little man. Molten
I rolled
fire.
I rolled an 18 to determine if I can catch Mara as being uncomfortable too. I'm going to sidle up to her on the other side.
I don't roll that anymore.
I would
My passive now is insane.
Nice.
I would definitely say you would notice something's off. So I've got your little red dot there. I didn't mean to draw this other one on here, but apparently it just kind of does what it wants to.
Yeah. Well.
Let's see.
So you
All
stay right
so,
there.
Yeah, you guys are kind of headed over into this area here. You've got
Okay.
a lot of shops that sit kind of along this little outer bank here. That's where the blacksmith is. Actually, a lot of the furnaces that run in with the billows and stuff run off some type of like hydroelectric, or more of like a water wheel to help raise and lower the billows.
Right.
Not electric. There is no electricity here.
I understand. So, Brandon, let me ask you a question. As we get there, would there be anybody at the anvil or at the furnace?
By the time you guys get there, it is late enough that work has kind of finished for the evening.
Okay. All right. So
The city streets, as you guys make your way through, the city streets are, I mean, they're packed. This is definitely not a small city. It is in comparison to like some of the the capitals and things of that nature. But I mean, from a population standpoint, Dragonstar is probably It's probably upwards of about 25 to 30,000 people in the city itself. It's massive. With the capital probably ranging upwards of, 2 to 3, maybe 400,000 in the main capital. Stormhaven being a little larger than Dragonstar itself.
And now we know why Mara and Terrance did not see each other.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thymax High is going to be visible.
So Terrance will go up and knock on the door. It has been 10 years. He's not going to just walk into his blacksmith father's house.
That's how you get a crossbow bolt through the door.
or a fest.
So Terrence, as you stand there and the door opens, there stands the familiar fatherly figure that you grew up with. Can I help you?
Terrance looks at him and says, we were wondering if you could fix something, and he pulls his original sword out of the bag of holding and hands it to his father, who should recognize it.
He does. Within maybe a few seconds, he looks, drops the sword, and just kind of rushes over and embraces you, just kind of in this massive bear hug that only a blacksmith could give. Almost to the point that you're wondering if at any point your armor's actually gonna start caving in upon you.
I was going to say we hear the armor dent.
Yeah.
And Terrance, in his jovial fashion, reaches and grabs his dad in a bear hug and gives him one back.
Nice.
So that would be the...
So as he does, as he's hugging, and obviously height-wise, you two are about the same. He kind of looks over your shoulder, and as he sees the rest of the party, and the hugs, while still tight, loosens up a little bit, so more so that he can talk. At that point, he's just like, you have friends?
Yes, I do. Let me introduce you first. First, I want to introduce you to somebody that you may not realize.
Oh boy.
This is Mara. And Mara is my sister in Christ. She came to Jehovah. And we're going to sit down and have a conversation about that later. But I also want you to meet my other sister in Christ, Muriel. She just recently came.
I have been, because it's common practice for me as a tiefling to hide my most obvious features as I walk around in a strange town until I do a vibe check. I've got the hood up, and until you say something about me, then I'll pull the hood back and walk forward.
And just so you know that the reason why this happened like this is because Terrance would, out of the chivalry of being a paladin, he would always introduce the females first. That's just the way it would work. Sorry. Then he would turn around and he would probably look at Albus in his dread helm and say, and this is my good friend Albus, who is also Mara's soon-to-be better half. Then he would turn to...
The helmet just
hold up.
Then he turns over to Raja and he says, and this is my brother in Christ, Raja. Now, question, Devlin, am I able to, have you hidden, or am I able to see you?
No, he's standing there.
Oh, okay. And then he turns over
with a dragon eyes firmly visible on his hip.
And he goes over and he says, this is my good friend Devlin, who has saved us multiple times. And this is our group. We are
Fire and Light.
Fire and Light.
We don't actually get a chance to say that name very often. We still get used to it.
Still
Yeah.
trying to get used to it. What was
That's
that?
what makes it so entertaining to
Raja
me.
gives his Terrance's father a salute.
Not sure he would know what to do with that, but
He just, yeah, there's kind of this awkward pause at the salute, and he just kind of nods his head and says, well, son, you have some interesting friends.
yeah, they are. And then the next thing he's gonna say is, "I was wondering if we had room here, and if not, it's okay. We can go to an inn."
Well, it won't be the most comfortable you've ever slept, but we can probably fit you.
I'm pretty sure it won't be the most uncomfortable we've ever slept either.
Muriel says, "Want a bet?"
I will take that bet, and you know I'll win.
All right, so the group makes their way into the home.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell everybody that this is my father, Cecil.
Pleasure to meet you, Cecil.
Sorry about that.
That's
Don't try intimidating this one, Albus. He could probably cave your hand in with his pinky.
I was kind of hoping that he would, honestly.
Not
Alice
yet.
is just
Pin.
standing there. He's not like he's giving him the look of sort of kind of just
Sizing him up.
yeah, sizing him up. As I mean, this is the one this is Mara's dad too, right?
Yep.
Correctly. So yeah, he's looking at him and just like sizing him up, and he's not trying to be unintimidating. How about that?
He's
That's
trying to
fair.
look tough.
Devlin I was about to see if he whispers that, but he's like, nah, I'll say that out loud. It said out loud.
Yep, got it.
Which part?
Does Cecil recognize Mara at all?
It's a great question.
I don't know that he would. He assumes that she's dead, right?
He would
Although,
he
to
would
be fair,
assume that,
she's
yeah.
like one of the only people in this town with pink hair. So, I mean, you would think, but no.
Well, Terrance couldn't recognize you as his sister, so.
I mean, would he know the name?
So he rolled a 17, and that's
Wow.
not quite high enough for me to say that he would have immediately known who Mar was. But there is
An inkling?
none of you would have ever experienced this except maybe Dennis. Dennis, have you ever taken your kids to the store and as you turn to look at something, you turn back around and your kids aren't there and your stomach kind of drops a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
Cecil just felt when Mara walked by, and he's not exactly sure why.
Uh
So I guess the question
Ooh.
is actually, would any of us have noticed? Because that would be a very visible
Would
feeling.
that be perception or investigation to catch that?
Mara notices nothing.
I'm probably going to say it's probably a perception.
Would a passive perception of 21 see it?
Yeah.
I got a 16.
Well, passive perception 20, Devlin catches that.
Yeah. You guys with perception of probably 18 or above, you
Okay.
you definitely would have caught, like, there was a look, almost like a dog cocking its head sideways, like, I know, but I don't know.
Mm.
Alright, so as you guys kind of all pile in to this house, is it the cleanest place you've ever been? Absolutely not. There's almost like a thin layer of soot that's on everything, just being that close to the actual forge and smithy and all that. It's a decent.
What about?
What's that?
I'm sorry. I was wondering if Terrance was curious about where his mom was.
I would assume that at the timeline that we come into, I would assume automatically she's in the kitchen, or something similar to that, because it would be around dinner time.
You would assume that she's just in the kitchen. Is she barefoot and pregnant too?
No, but she would be. So she is the house cook. She is like the best cook in the world. I mean, it's just one of the things that she really excelled at. And so Terrance remembers all the meals. He would just, probably be smelling food, and his mind is only on food. So
I only kid because that's like my favorite thing to do. No, so as you walk in, as you're kind of take it all in, Terrance, the house looks like you just walked out the door 10 years ago. Almost nothing has changed in the house, which doesn't surprise me because it's the same thing when I go to my parents' house.
Yeah.
You're there, you hop in, you're like, oh, like you've done nothing. And that's exactly what it is. As you walk in, there is a smell of food that kind of overtakes you. It smells like freshly baked bread and some type of like stew. Because I know how much Mara loves stew.
Oh yes, she loves it.
I am hungry again.
As you walk in, there's kind of you hear for a quick second a commotion in the kitchen as things kind of begin to fall over, and as you look around the corner, there's Mom, and she is just like she's a tiny little thing. For a human, she probably stands maybe 5'2", 5'3". In contrast to your dad's, 6'3+ ish stature. So this high and low. She lets out like this little eek and runs over and just squeezes you, and as hard as she can, and of course, you definitely don't even feel it with your armor on. And she kind of turns.
I don't squeeze back.
She kind of like shoves her head kind of underneath her arm, and she looks over and she goes, "Oh dear, you certainly make very interesting friends."
So I turn around and introduce everybody to her, and I have to do a quick search of something real quick because I forgot what my name for her was. It was started with an S.
No, just say it how you mean it. You forgot your mother's name.
Yeah.
I forgot my mother's name.
We heard Mara crazy,
When your mom does that, I had to roll a personal, and then I had to roll a second because I rolled a nat 20. Devlin's eyes actually get misty.
Oh.
And then I rolled a 13 for stealth to try and hide it.
Oh,
He is taken aback. He is emotional.
I have the help.
Yeah, at that point, I think everyone's passive perception sees
Oh yeah, I
that.
definitely noticed that.
My passive is high enough. I hope.
Mara,
you would definitely
yeah.
have caught
I did not hide it well enough. A nat 20, he is whatever little calms Sharadi had seeing a mom embrace the son. That hit him.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Muriel draws back just enough to like.
Yeah. Mara would put a hand on his shoulder. Kind of do that little rub thing. Yeah.
I'm trying to find the name. I only wrote it once. Celinda. That's her name.
Cecil and Celinda.
Cecil and Celinda, and his brother Seth, hopefully, is somewhere around there.
And then there's
That's not a
Karen.
tongue twister that's going to make the DM forget and scramble things up at all. Cecil says Celinda.
Cecil, Celinda, and Seth.
Now, remind me again, how old was Seth when you left?
He would have been... hold on a second. Let me go back.
If he's
He would
20,
have been...
he would have been 10, right?
He would
He's
have
a year
been
younger than
7
Mara.
when I left because Mara would have been 8.
True.
And this is another reason why I may not have realized that Mara was still there, because I probably hadn't seen Mara for a few years at that point when I did leave, because we thought she was dead. So she would have been very young.
Got it. Okay, so Seth is probably somewhere 17, 18 range.
He'd be a year younger than Mara.
And Mara is...
She's like early 20s.
So he's like 19. Okay, well, I'm sorry, he's 19.
Okay, we'll make
That's
Seth
where
19.
he's supposed to be. So
I
I guess
like
I've been gone for 12 years.
All right, so, yeah, it doesn't take long before your mom's mama bear instincts kick in, and she's got all of you shoved around this tiny, like, circle table. She is just grabbing buckets and miscellaneous chairs and just shoving you all together. Before you could even say anything, there's just piles of food on the table. She's just running around like, I don't know, like a typical mom would do when, you know, here comes her son that she hasn't seen in forever, because he never calls his mom. He doesn't even remember her name, and
You're right.
and
I
now
mean, come on.
now he shows up with all these, you know,
Look,
charlatans
Real
and
weird.
only
strange
knew her as
people.
mom.
And one of them is crying in the corner
Right?
with a big smile on his face.
The other one looks like a devil.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are able to sit down and eat. Muriel, there's no reaction to you being a tiefling.
That's refreshing. I don't trust it.
Maybe because they don't realize you're a tiefling. Because that was a nasty perception roll.
Wow.
Raja will be sitting next to Muriel at the dinner table just for the horned figures to be
Yes.
Right.
side by side.
Is there any bread on the table?
Any bread?
Yeah, something soft.
Yeah, there's probably at that point there's probably 3 or 4 loaves on the table.
At some point, when he feels a little better, he's going to subconsciously just take one, stick it on top of Muriel's horn
I'm gonna
for a
just
26 sleight of hand.
I'm just gonna. Oh, hang on. I definitely don't do that then.
And he'll just leave it there for just like a minute and then just take it.
Until the parents notice.
It's a 15 bringing it back, so you might actually feel it as it leaves the horn.
Hang on. Nope.
Yeah, she doesn't know.
Oh, I love it.
Raja noticed
Wow.
it as you grabbed it off the horn.
Raja, you would have noticed
Sorry,
it
that
as
was
he
nice.
set it on and as he took it off. So you know you're kind of chuckling under your breath as you watch, as you're watching this happen.
Thomas will
Now
take
we're
his
doing
dinner
all
when-
of this.
when he meets the mom and latch it behind his belt, underneath his cape, kind of out of the way, and get off for the rest of the evening.
Okay.
I am gonna roll a sleight of hand to borrow Devlin's. This is the thing this is kind of the thing I enjoy doing, and I've worked at it for a while now, of just stealing his hat when we sit at tables together. I rolled a dirty 20.
23.
Son of a
Ah, dang it.
He just
So as you slide the hat across, you just
Not- like, he's so
suddenly
crying, he's like-
feel-
yeah.
not even give you. It's like
Sorry, Sabrina.
So Terrance would probably, in between bites, try to recount a few of the better moments of their adventures to his dad and mom. And is his brother in the house at all, or
Brother's not there.
okay, that's not good. But anyways, he would and he would ask, Where is Seth?
I'm gonna need you to make a perception check, and I need everyone. If you want to make a perception check, you can. But
Yeah, I'm
this
good.
would be a main one for Terrance.
Okay, I have an 18.
Okay.
Did the air just get sucked out of the room at that question?
Make a
It's
passive
slightly it's slightly dead.
Uh,
You're
8.
you kind of all notice the air about Celinda changed. She went from a very happy, bouncy, yay, to not so much. It takes her a minute as she kind of gathers herself. Well, Terrence, your brother, well, we haven't seen him in about 5 years.
What?
He thought when you left on your, and she throws up her air quotes, on your paladin journey, that he needed to follow in your footstep. The temple wouldn't take him on as a paladin because you were already there. So your brother joined the army.
Do you know where he's at by chance, or who he's serving under?
He went.
As he looks over at Raja, the only soldier he knows.
He left and went to the capital about 5 years ago. We knew that he was going to join. We always knew that he would do great things, but we haven't heard or seen from him since.
Terrence looks over at Raj and is that normal for a soldier?
Can be. I can reach out to my contacts in the military and see if there's any whereabouts of him.
Well, to be fair, Terrence hadn't really done anything with his parents in 10 years, so, I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
but this is Terrence's little brother. That the same doesn't apply in Terrence's mind. Okay. Well, not sure where else to go with that conversation. Terrence just kind of starts eating again.
Travis leans
Not
in.
sure what to do.
Travis leans in and goes, what's the news around? We have been kind of in the wilds, or more than that, for at least the last week or so. What's been going on? Anything big happening?
At that point, Celinda at that point is not necessarily, I wouldn't call her comatose, because that's not the word I'm looking for, but she's definitely kind of off in her own little world. You can see that her mind has begun to wander. Where's her baby? What's he doing? That kind of thing. Cecil, he kind of pulls up next to, kind of over where the hearth would be, in his very familiar chair, and he takes a minute and says, well, we have been seeing increased movement between the capital and Stormhaven, more than usual. Very large orders of swords, shields, that kind of thing have flowed in through the shop, and we've been extremely lucky. We've probably produced more arms in the past 2 months than we have in the past 6 years. So I don't know what's going on, but you don't make that kind of weaponry without something big.
There's no news of war or conflict or the capital city making plans for anything. Nothing like that. No news of that sort.
None that we would have heard here. No.
Have you heard any news of Lord Storm from Stormhaven at all?
Now that you mention it, no. I think
Now that is kind of unusual.
I think I think last we had heard he was on some sort of diplomatic mission. He was set to travel to Fasari, but no news since. We have gotten word of in the north of sightings of dragons again.
Yeah, we've seen a couple.
Killed one too.
I'm wearing his eye.
I'm wearing his shield and his cloak.
Technically killed two with help.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna say we're all kind of wearing one of their armor.
yeah, we are wearing some
His
dragon
armor.
armor.
It looks like Stormhaven is going to be our next stop, guys. So,
Mm.
because that's where the weapons are flying, that's where people are going. That sounds like where we need to head next.
Oh, like I said, I have some old contacts in the military. I can one, check on Seth, and two, see if there's any word on Lord Storm's location or his whereabouts.
How are you going to contact these? You're going to contact your contacts. Do we need to go to Stormhaven for that, or can you do that here?
No, there should be, assuming it's still here, there should still be a military outpost here in Dragonstar.
I could
Simply
probably do.
go in the morning and
Cecil,
ask if there's any reports.
Yeah, Cecil, is the military compound still here?
It is indeed. It's actually, and he points at kind of out the window where you kind of see the water, just straight across the water, here on the map where I'm pinging it. You can see a very large kind of palisade wall surrounding something. I mean, it's not super clear as to what it is, but definitely in the general area.
Just head there in the morning.
I could probably reach out to my own contacts. They might have an inkling of what might be a cause or an effect of what has led to this many weapons being produced and shipped south.
Terrance, while you guys are talking to Cecil about that, and Terrance's mom is kind of off in her own little world thinking about Seth, Terrance is going to very lightly whisper over to Mara a question and ask her, Mara, do you want me to talk with my father? Or do you want to do it yourself? Or do you want to just leave this as is?
I was just going to put his hand on Mara's arm and just whisper, "You don't have to do this now if you don't want to. But if you decide to do it, I'll be here with you."
I will admit I'm curious, but I don't want to be the one to talk about it. I think he'd probably trust talking to you more. Anyway, Terrance? because he technically doesn't even know I'm alive.
Right.
So
So, with that said, Terrance will look at Cecil and ask him if he can have a word with him in private out in the smith, out in the forge.
Sure. Yeah. And he,
do you want Mara to come with you or no?
And I will ask Mara if she wants to come.
I think she probably would.
Okay.
Or do you want me to join you?
No,
You got this.
Just stay here with Muriel.
Before you leave, I'm going to brush your shoulder and be like, "You've got this," and I'm going to give you a guidance. You got to spend it within a minute.
Okay, got it.
Devlin's going to lean over to Albus and say, just follow her and wait on the other side of the door.
No, she's got this. And I'm going to pull out my violin, and I'm going to entertain Celinda and the group and kind of just be a distraction while Terrance and Mara take Cecil to the smith.
okay. So as Terrance and Mara and Cecil kind of walk out the door, just kind of in the background, you hear the sounds of violins beginning to play. Not his best performance, I will say, but also not the worst. Hadn't quite been on his game in a few days.
Let me roll to see if Mara's still keeping her cool, because I imagine she's a little nervous about that.
Yeah.
What would keeping my cool be?
Like a Constitution save.
I was going to say, for the rest of us, survival, but...
Right.
Constitution save, so I got a dirty 20.
Okay. Yeah. So, so
I
far
keep-
you're keeping it together pretty well for now.
Yeah, heart pounding in my chest, but no one can tell.
So do I need to make any rolls for this, or do I just need to start
maybe.
and we'll go from there? Okay. So I'll just start and then we'll go from there?
Yeah.
Okay. So as we get out there, Terrance looks over, kind of pulls Mara in closer to him, just so that they're right there together, and says, "Father, I need to let you know about something that I think is going to hurt, but may also be a sense of joy for you, or at least I'm hoping it is." And he looks over at Mara and he looks back at Cecil and he says, "Don't know if you realize exactly who this young lady truly is. But I think you need to know this is your daughter." And he just kind of stops with that. Because, Terrance is not exactly the best at breaking good news.
Mara is frozen. She's probably looking at the ground at this point. She's just like, waiting.
There's a few second pause, and he looks over.
She's still not looking at him.
That would certainly explain why I had the feeling in the pit of my stomach when you guys walked in. There was something familiar about you. How? Well, I know the how, but...
So the news that we got when I was young, and she was really young, was that she died. And we even went to her funeral, I remember it. Apparently they were lying. She did not die. She was actually raised in the Temple of Tyr. And did not have a very good life growing up. But now she is not just my sister, she is my sister in Jehovah. And
So as you utter the words, sister in Jehovah, you watch as your dad puts his fist through the wall.
Oh.
And Terrance's countenance will change considerably. And
They told me she was dead.
I'm gonna roll another Constitution. She's doing. Yeah. Good job.
will I understand that he is who he's referring to, her parents or something different?
Make a history check.
Okay. What's a 9?
Yeah, you'd have no clue.
Okay.
He is at this point he is more mad than you have ever seen him in your entire life, and that's up to and including all the things that you screwed up around the Smith growing up.
So at that point I would just say, Father, what's going on? What's happening? Why are you so angry?
Because my child was raised less than 2 miles from this home, and I was told that she was dead. How are you not angry?
Well, I was angry, but we've traveled enough that I've been able to get past the anger, and with Jehovah's help, I was able to get past the anger. I don't know what would happen if I found her parents. I don't know how I would feel. I don't know how Mara would feel. It's a source of contention, I'm sure, every time we think of her parents. But just knowing the fact that I was able to bring her back here to you, who I knew would love her unconditionally, that's what kept me from being as angry as you are right now. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm tearing up a little.
Oh, that's sweet. I just don't understand how I look so different than everybody else, and y'all didn't have even an inkling, and I grew up the way I did. She's gonna respond in a little bit of anger too.
There's a... Now, before I go into this, I have to make sure that I remember this correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Mara is the love child of Cecil and another woman. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. I remembered correctly. All right.
Yes.
And we're back. I was making sure I wasn't about to screw this up. Right. I didn't want anyone to be fact-checking me in the freaking comments. So, Mara, as he kind of stares over to you, there's anger, and there's
she's not.
and there's
She's still looking down. Like,
Yeah.
she's not looking at.
and no,
but-
and that's fine. He's just kind of looking over in your direction. What you wouldn't notice at that point then is there is anger, but there's also a slight hint of happiness.
Okay.
He says, "Dear child, you look almost exactly like your mother, minus the pink hair, of course."
Don't remind me. I hate that woman.
dear, why would you hate your mother?
Because she left me. She and who I thought was my dad just left me and pretended I was dead. I had to live in squalor for most of my life. And none of you noticed. Like, I just. I don't like them.
My dear, that's not exactly how it happened.
And how would you know?
The night that you were left at the temple, your mother, the man that you believed were your father, were assassinated.
What? Why? What?
My dear, they left you there because they feared that they were being tracked. Indeed, they were.
She was a baker and he was a blacksmith. What in the world would anybody want to track them for?
Dear, that is what they did during the day. Did you never think to question them leaving your home in the middle of the evening?
I was like 5. Give me a break.
Fair enough. Your parents worked for Lord Storm. They were agents of sorts.
Agents doing what?
Gathering information,
For what?
making certain things happen within the city. Whatever was needed.
Okay, so why would someone want to murder them?
My dear, everyone wants to murder people like that in that certain line of work. So this hatred that you have held on to for so long, it's up to you whether you keep it or not. But just know that your mother did love you. And when I heard that your mother and, kind of air quotes, father had been murdered, they told me all 3 of you had been killed. As Terrance said, we went to your funeral.
Who supposedly killed us?
If you believe the word of the people of the street, it was done by someone from the capital.
Is there a rumor as to who specifically?
No. But this is just the information that I would be able to gather from my side. I'm not saying that there's not a more seedier element of the city that could possibly know more, but dear, it's been so long ago.
So at this point, Terrance is stuck on the fact that the temple told, and he's assuming it's a temple of Tyr, told his family that Mara was also killed with the parents. And so he's going to say, so Father, you're telling me that the temple of Tyr has told us a lie about Mara. What would it profit them?
What do you mean, what would it profit them? They get someone to do their work during the day for free.
Terrance is kind of taken aback, not believing that a temple would do that. Probably in the back of his mind he would believe it, but not wanting to believe it.
At this point, Mara does lose her cool a little bit, and she'll storm off out of whatever room she's in and out of the building, and she'll just start, I don't know, walking to probably, like, not the Temple of Jehovah. Ugh. She'd probably stop by the Temple of Tyr, I guess.
They're right next door to each other, so it should be pretty easy.
Yeah, well, she's going to storm out. She's not going to tell anybody where she's going, but she's going to the Temple of Tyr.
Okay.
Are there windows that she goes past at all, per chance?
Yeah.
No. So unless you were standing outside the door and heard her coming and were able to get out of the way, yeah, you would have no clue. Just kind of the way where the blacksmith and the smithy sits. Obviously, you wouldn't want windows on that side that would bring in.
So I imagine Terrance, being torn between his father and his now sister, would call after her very loudly, and when she doesn't turn, he would turn in and go into the group and tell them Mara just left.
Well,
And,
where's she going?
And he would explain what just happened, the story, and
Albus will fill you on the way. Get after her.
A little violin screech. And then he'll take off and try and catch up to her. If he sees her storming off, he might hang back a little bit. Just try and catch up to her and keep her in sight.
How much does
Would I have been
explain
far
the
enough away that they would have known where I went? Or
So
like,
I guess my question would be, Mara, when you left the building, at some point would you have began like running?
Oh, probably.
Okay. So if Mara
I
has at some point broken off running, I'm going to say for Terrance to go into the house, tell you all what happened, plus kind of fill you in on what happened. It would probably take more than a few minutes, so by that point, by the time you guys kind of hit the main street, you would not see a pink-haired human in a kimono anywhere.
Terrance explained in detail.
as much as I could. I explained in detail what I just heard. Probably looking over at Devlin when I talk about the seedier side. So,
Oh, you're speaking my language, lad.
and then I would would have seen which way she ran, would I not?
Well, I mean,
direction.
based off where the house is, you would know that she headed north.
Okay.
Now, where she went once she kind of hit the
Yeah.
main thoroughfare, you have no clue. She could have cut left and headed out of the city. She could have gone. I mean, literally hundreds of thousands of different variations of where Mara could have gone.
Yeah.
Ariel, can you reach out to Mara? I don't see her out there, and I don't know the city well enough. Could you possibly reach out to her? Just make sure she's safe. See if she will tell us where she's going.
I'll cast sending and contact Mara.
Okay.
Where are you? I know you're upset, but we want to know where you are and if you're safe. Please respond.
Alright, it is up to you whether you respond or not, Mara.
So she doesn't want to be found right now,
Okay.
but she'll at least respond with, I'm fine.
I'll tell the group that she responded that she's fine, but she did not tell me where she was. She must want to be left alone. This is her home city as much as it is Terrance's. I suggest we leave her be for a while. She'll come back when she's ready.
Terrance, is this a safe city, or do you have a criminal underbelly we need to worry about? I mean, I know Mara can smash a couple of heads in, but the whole gang, how safe is this city? Something that Mara can handle, or is this something like?
Well, she grew up on these streets.
She's the safest person in here.
Probably one of the safest, yes. However, I will say that there's always a bad side, and this city being no different.
So here's what I would say based on that. The answer that Terrance is going to give, I'm basing it a lot off of the perception check of what has changed in the city. Nothing seemed to have changed to Terrance. He still remembers it as it was 10 years ago. The city is nothing like it was 10 years ago.
In a bad way, or?
Of course, in a bad way.
Sorry, what a stupid question.
I mean,
I guess
what town isn't worse for wear 10 years? I mean, let's be honest, 2 years at this point.
True.
Raja reminded me that I have the stone to call Mara,
Jeez.
and so I'm gonna hold it weird, look at it weird. How do I turn this thing on again?
You just tap on that part right
This
there.
one here?
Hit the send button.
That one. Oh, okay.
Hit
Yeah.
that.
I saw it.
What does it play when he calls you, Mara?
It's the song that never...
It's the song that never ends. That one.
Okay, so yeah, just out loud blaring, you hear, "This is the song that never ends, and it goes on and on, my friends."
Yeah.
Going into the Temple of Tyr.
This is the song that never ends, and it goes on and on, my friends.
Oh my lord. She'll answer, I'm fine, and hangs up.
All again.
She'll put her phone on silent.
Oh, he's dead.
That's not how sending stones work.
That's right.
There is no silent, and
Yeah.
there's no ignore either.
So it begins blaring yet
She'll press
again.
the answer button, and then she'll just set it down next to her.
Mara, it's me. I know you need to be left alone. We don't know this city. You need to have somebody have your back just in case. And just tell me where you're at. I won't interrupt. I just want to make sure you're good. I'll stay back. Just tell me where you're at.
What do I roll to see if he convinces me?
Say, Jesse roll persuasion versus Mara.
Insight?
Yeah. I mean, Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would go. I mean, you could do just straight up persuasion against each other.
Yeah, I would do.
You could do if you're kind of in a mood, you could do persuasion versus intimidation. I mean, whatever kind of fits.
Yeah, I got a soft 20.
Who's intimidating who?
I would say at this point, if you're in a mood and want to be left alone, you're going to be the intimidating party.
Okay. Does that mean I roll with advantage?
Dangerous proficient.
Okay. Thank you. 19 plus 6.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So with a 25, Albus, she firmly lets you know
No.
she's fine, and
Hangs up.
Thomas is going to let out all the foul language you learned on the sea.
I don't
I'm
remember
wondering-
teaching you that one.
I'm wondering if Celinda will smack him or not.
Miriam looks impressed.
with a 6, she does not hit him.
Okay.
But she was not impressed with his tiny little foul mouth.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I will go outside, and I will walk outside and continue the tirade.
Muriel hands you a bar of soap for your mouth.
What did you
Well-
remember those? My mother would be very impressed.
So if Terrance knows the city and knows Mara, maybe an investigation check.
I was just thinking, would there be insight into the fact that I might put 2 and 2 together that she would go somewhere?
I would say based on the amount of time that you've been out of the city, I would say make a history check to see if you remember, but make it at disadvantage.
Okay.
What time is it now in the evening?
By this point, it is
A 19.
by this point it's past dusk. The sun is set. The lamplighters have gone around the city and lit lamps.
But it's not late enough that people would be turning in.
It's getting fairly close.
Mm-hmm.
Old people would be going to bed right now as they, had their supper around 5. The blue
We'll be back
the blue
later.
plate specials at the
Right.
Ye Old Waffle House.
Devin will drop his pack off. It be the witching hour. Terrance lad, time to go do what I do best.
So, Devlin, as you kind of make your way off, Terrance, based on your history check, you would have a fairly decent idea that Mora more than likely probably would have made her way towards the temple. Now, whether or not you are stupid enough to follow her, I'm going to leave that up to you.
Well,
This
I'm
Terrance.
debating whether or not I'm stupid enough to grab Albus and drag him there. Thinking that of all the people in the world here, he would have the best chance. And I'm debating whether I just grab him and take him or if I actually tell him.
All right. Well,
I'm
while
thinking
you're deciding that, Mara, what you doing?
Well, I've been thinking about that. So she would probably be sitting. I assume that the Temple of Tyr is similar-ish to other churches, and there's pews or whatever. So at least for a little bit, she would probably be sitting there mulling over the information, maybe playing with, fingering whatever the little vial of ashes that
Helga.
of Helga, because she knows she needs to drop that off at some point, out of respect. But I mean, if she was left to her own devices long enough, she might like. I don't know. She might be in a mood. She might try to like go to Stormhaven herself, and like find Lord Storm or whatever.
That's
But-
not here.
No. I know, but I don't know. I don't know what kind of mood she's in.
That's another freaking town. You're not.
Yeah.
So
Steph's eyes just went, oh no.
I know, it was so great. She's like, that's not in this town. And she goes, I know. And she's like,
So I will say that Terrance right now is not in a very good mood because he just found out that a temple basically lied to his parents and him and did it to keep her as a basic slave. These are things that would definitely make Terrance's blood boil. These are things that Terrance stands against. So Terrance would probably look at Albus and just say, come on, and start
Not go long.
walking. And so Terrance is going to start walking towards where he remembers the temple to be.
okay.
Aja looks at Muriel and just kind of like gestures to Albus and Terrance, like, should we follow?
She wants to be left alone.
Okay, I guess Rasha and Muriel are hanging back.
I have contacted her. She has assured me she's safe. I'll stay up and do it a few more times tonight. Maybe by the time I do it again, she'll have calmed down. But she just had a lot of things, a lot of revelations, I imagine. I wasn't there. She's needing time to process this. You know how she is.
Out.
On the way up, I'm probably going to look at Albus and say, it may be best for us when we get there not to actually go to her, but to just stay back.
No, I just
And
want.
wait.
Well, she wants
Well,
to
this
be
is
left
between me and Albus walking up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, not you.
I agree. I know.
Muriel.
I just want to make sure she's safe. I don't want to say anything.
Yes, I want to make sure she's safe as well, and I want to beat whatever priest it was that told my father that she was dead.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So,
Hey, Muriel, remember our standing bet on how long it takes to get kicked out of a city?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I taught them a goal.
I'm not saying Terrance is going to do anything. I'm just saying this is what Terrance feels right now, and apparently he feels comfortable enough with Albus to let Albus know.
Let me just say though, like from the very beginning, Mara and me like kind of had a thing against Lord Storm, so she's probably just like, insanely mad at this point.
Oh, I can imagine.
And
it's funny how that seemed to work itself out, huh?
uh-huh.
It's almost
Funny
like it was
that.
planned.
Almost.
Right.
So I didn't roll very high, which means she's probably going to be stupid and try and leave the city and head to Stormhaven herself to like beat the shit out of Lord Storm if she can find him.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
What did you roll?
Like a 6.
Against what?
I don't know.
Just a
I need to-
6 roll in general.
Just
Okay.
to see what she would do if she would just like sit there and wait, or go back, or like try and go. If you don't want me to do that, that's fine.
Well, I mean, hey, it's your player, your agency. I mean, at that point, it's kind of whatever you want to do.
But she would at least give Albus the courtesy of calling him back. So she'll call him and be
Oh,
like,
great. He's like 6 pews behind her.
see if she notices.
Yeah. So
Oh, she'll notice when, what's your ringtone, Jesse?
No.
Right, 15 feet behind Mara.
right. Yeah. So by that point, I'm going to assume it probably would have been at least a good 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, Terrance and Albus would have kind of made their way, at least into the temple
good.
square.
Thank God.
Good, I'm glad.
And
You
as
rolled really bad.
yeah, and as you send to Albus, you do hear the ba-da-ba-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh yay.
You just turn around seething.
Oh my gosh. You like seen anger in her eyes that she's like hasn't had in her eyes in a while.
Well, I wonder if you would even realize that that was him.
Oh,
Would I know that?
Alice
Would I know that? Joe? I don't know if I would
Alice
know.
is going to look at her right back with the same look at her.
Intimidation roll off.
No.
Alright, let's do this.
But are you worried the Dreadhelm, Alice?
No, I'm not.
Oh no, she rolled an 11.
13.
Oh,
So not much better. So Mara, as you stand and twirl, and see peeking over the back pews this tiny Albus, you try as hard as you can just to shoot him this angry look. He fires it right back, and it breaks you.
Oh.
We need to talk about our communication, Mara.
She's a barbarian. She know no words good.
That's right.
Do I need to roll to see if Mara would punch him out of anger? My first reaction was to like
Roll self-control. So,
self-control.
You have been an item for less than 3 days, and you're already domestic violencing him.
No, she would think better of it, but like, oh, she's a lot broken right now.
We're off to a great start.
I think if you're angry enough that you're... tell you what.
Uh
Put a fist through a pew.
Are you using your fist or are you using your warhammer?
Oh, crap.
Oh no! It would just be this.
Okay, so...
No. Are you mad enough that you don't know the difference?
That's also fair.
No, well, I don't know. She does have Jehovah now, so I'm hoping she would know the difference between.
Are you in a
a hammer and
blind?
her.
Are you in a blind rage?
I don't
Are
know
you
if she
seeing
does
red
that
right
anymore.
now?
Nope.
I don't think she does that
Alright,
anymore since we
so-
got rid of her little demon thing.
All right, so I'm gonna have you roll a. So I'm gonna have you roll a d20.
Okie dokie.
now Terrance is right next to Albus.
Yeah.
So
I'm rolling it to you, DM,
If it works.
if it works. Oh, there it goes. Oh,
Oh, no.
oh, shit.
Mm.
Hey, Terrance, I have a feeling you're probably going to need to move an armored plate up because I think a warhammer is about to come a-swinging.
well, I have a
That looked like... Oh,
So
that's a nat 1.
So Mara, as you break, it's not what I would call a blind rage. Not like the Mara of old, where
Yeah, no.
you would just go at it and not remember anything. This probably for the first time is more of a directed rage. You're not exactly sure why you're mad, but you are extremely angry that Terrance and Albus have both followed you after you told them to leave you alone. Roll another d20.
Oh, shoot. Okay, let's hope this one's a little better.
How many choir boys do you take out on the swing?
Hey, the priest at Tyr that lied about you just happened to be walking down the aisle at the exact same time.
So with your roll,
Uh-huh.
as you turn around and see them, you kind of let out. It's not really a war cry. It's anguish. It's pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you pick up the pew that you were sitting on and throw it at Albus and Terrance.
Oh, shoot. Good lord.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna owe Devlin money.
Terrance and Albus, it's obviously it's not going to be enough damage, but just so I can figure out what's going to happen, I'm going to have both of you make dexterity saving throws.
Oh my lord. Please roll high.
Oh, I rolled an 18.
Okay.
Plus 2 is 20, dirty 20.
I rolled
Okay.
15.
Okay, not bad.
All right. So, in my mind, I had set the DC. You both made it. So as there's a far enough distance that you see very clearly. Here comes this flying pew like a Pentecostal church, and you both hop out of the way, and you're able to miss it. Mara, as you throw it from behind you, the singing that was happening stops, and several.
Can she realize what she did?
Oh yeah. I mean, you're at this point. You were. I'm gonna say that you're in a rage, but not a blind rage. Like, you're not gonna go red and murder everyone in the building. Like, you have full control of your body. You're just pissed. So as you turn around, there are several members, kind of hoods up, very monkish, very, priesty,
Gregorian.
old priesty, if you will, making their way up. And the one leading them he is pointing and just screaming at you.
Oh,
You
no.
get out! You get out now! Who do you think you are?
Come on.
Oh, good.
Lord have mercy.
This is the Temple of Tyr, right?
Yeah, these are the people that lied.
She's
And
going.
she is pissed
I was just gonna
and
say,
just threw a pew.
and Terrance isn't exactly in the best of moods about them either right now. Just had a pew thrown at him. So you got a pissed off paladin and a pissed
Oh,
off
start
barbarian.
counting those platinum pieces, Mary.
Okay, so in her rage, she realizes that they're a bunch of doo-doo heads. So she'll the bottle of ashes that she had for Helga, she's going to chuck it at one of them, and she's going to leave they want her to, basically.
Okay, roll a d20.
I'm so sorry.
Best we could ask for, really,
Oh, yes.
given the circumstances.
I think in her mind she's just like, Helga would be proud.
The ashes crack the cranium and blind the man as it explodes in his face.
I don't know, what'd you roll?
We're having too much fun with this.
Yeah, a little too much. Sorry.
Alright, Mara, roll your d20.
Okie dokie. To you only?
Make a ranged
It
melee
doesn't
attack.
matter.
That one.
Okay, so 13.
Say a nat one.
No, 13?
Oh, I said that one,
Oh,
not
I thought
that.
you said that one as well. I was like, oh boy.
No, I'm sorry.
So
Not twice in a row.
So as you throw, the leading guy that was yelling at you, it cracks him across the face.
She'll probably yell. She'll hit, crack him in the face. She'll be like, "You lied to my family," and it's just a bunch of random things that I don't even think she even knows what she's saying. And she'll just she'll go. She'll head towards Stormhaven.
And here's my best friend!
So yeah, so it as it hits and it shatters, kind of just across his face, leaving shards of glass that just kind of embed themselves across basically his brow, eyes, nose, as just kind of this plume of dust as the ash releases from the canister. So not only is he like now inhaling Helga,
You.
the group kind of stops dead in their track at that point and begin to tend to him, ripping off pieces of bandage to wrap around his face. And
I think
three of them from the rear just kind of make their way through that group that's tending to him and kind of push their way towards you guys, just with their arms stretched out as wide as they can, basically like kind of like riot policing you out.
So, she would basically be doing, like, she would have thrown and then, like, turned around and, like, ran straight out. Like,
Okay.
I don't think they would have catched her.
Got it.
Or caught her.
And Terrance would have told Albus to run after her now.
With his
Probably would have had to,
anyway?
but Terrance will not dignify by running out. He will turn and walk out at a slow pace.
Okay.
Because at this point, it's like, okay, I'm just a pissed off paladin of another temple. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So at that point, Mara, as you are exiting the temple, what are you doing? Like, where are you headed?
Well, should I roll to see if she's, like, calmed down at all?
You tell me. If you think she is calm, then she is calm. If you don't think she is, then...
not calm, like calmer.
Right. Wherever you're at in that character's headspace right now is what we'll go with.
So she would probably she would probably call Albus and tell him that she's headed to Stormhaven to pick, if she can find Lord Storm's butt and kick it hard. And if they want to follow her, fine. But she's not staying here any longer than she has to.
Okay. Well.
I'm waiting for someone to call me over so I can talk her off the ledge. I'm just hanging out at Mama Cecil and the other lady's name.
I don't think Terrance's sending stone has somebody attached yet.
We've not discovered yours, I don't think.
No.
You don't. You haven't
No.
used it yet. You haven't had a need to use it yet.
So I'm pulling out while I'm walking out, kind of at a, kind of like that swag, walking out. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm assuming that they have showed me how to use this at least once, and I'm gonna make a phone call or a stone call. I'm gonna make a stone call.
When Terrance is done, Albus will when Mara ran past him, Albus was going to cast some magic at her. But I'll do that after Terrance.
We finally get to find out who has Terrance's stone.
I'm trying to remember what the pairs are.
It's Raja, Devlin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Albus, Mara. Muriel has
I'm assuming
Terrance. But
Yeah.
Terrance doesn't have Muriel. You said one of us connects to someone out of the party.
Oh, yeah.
And we had never figured out until this moment whose it was.
So,
I'm not sure I'm gonna like this.
so as we close tonight's session,
Oh,
Oh no!
you hear pick up the other side. Hello?
Is it?
Huh?
It's hard.
I'm,
It's our favorite shopkeep.
I'm not sure why you're calling me this late. I've been in bed since 7.
And I ask him, how do I call one of my friends on this thing?
You can't, and he hangs up. And that's where we're gonna end tonight's session, guys.
Oh, I hate it.
So, yeah, we hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. It was definitely fun. Such a great time. Yeah, we'll see you here next week. Same time, same place. I guess we'll go ahead and throw it out now. After next week, we will actually be on I will actually be on a little bit of a summer hiatus. I'm going to take a few weeks off. Devlin, or Joffrey, as we affectionately know him as, will be doing a short shot. So, you'll still get your weekly Holy Rollers, just not with me for a few weeks. We'll pick back, so we'll pick back up next week, see where we get, and then go from there. Until then, God bless. See you next week. Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye.